Hey everyone, welcome to the 455th episode of Just Shoot It, a podcast about screenwriting, filmmaking, and directing. This episode is brought to you by patron Kevin O'Brien, back on the Patreon.
What
Thanks,
up?
Kevin.
Welcome back, Kevin. Living that
Oren.
freelance life. Hey, Kevin. I see you.
I'm Oren Kaplan.
I'm Matt Unlow. Today, it's a Matt and Oren catch-up episode. Oren has been traveling for literally a month. You've still managed to text me and complain about a truly incredible shoot that I can't wait to hear all about. We haven't really debriefed on it, so
Oh yeah,
it's going to be fresh for me too. This is your 10 tips from Thailand.
10 tips from Thailand. Though I was going to catch up on post-Thailand a little bit.
I'm going to put my money on 3 tips total.
Dude, no, you're so wrong. I have them written.
Oh, no. I know you have more than 10 tips.
No, you're saying we'll get through 3. But I have them written to be so fast.
Just little bullets.
You want to tell people about our Patreon real quick?
That's what I was about to do. Yeah, before
Okay,
we
cool.
get going. Yeah, Patreon. Patreon.com/JustShootItPod is the place where you can throw us a buck or two. We've got a new editor, Kevin O'Yang, doing killer work, posting on the socials, getting these episodes nice and tight.
It's so funny.
Good.
I go to Instagram and then sometimes there's just videos of me saying some nonsense that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We recorded that?
And then it cuts to me trying to get a word in edgewise.
Hey, Matt, I'm talking here.
You know,
What did Kamala Harris say? What was her line?
I don't know.
Can you
I am
stop
mother.
interrupting? I am mother. No, we had some debate thing then.
That's a good.
Anyhow,
Before we get into our catch up, though, Oren,
What?
let's talk about Magic Mind real quick because you are on your Magic Mind journey.
oh yeah,
You're back
on the
States.
on the magic carpet ride.
They sponsor the show. We should say, but we've both been enjoying it very much. And they have like a 7-day challenge, basically. And where are you
they
in
do?
your 7 days? Yeah,
I'm on
You-
day 2.
One of us read the brief, so you're day 2. How do you feel?
Well, if you call it a brief, it should be short. Okay, you can't send 3 pages. I'm on day 2. I came back from Thailand, went to Hawaii, and I didn't want to carry 15 doses of Magic Mind through TSA.
I definitely would have done it. Yeah. definitely
but it's liquid. I mean,
Oh, that's true. But they're the little guys. I wonder.
Yeah,
it
but
would have been a
you
bummer
think
if they threw
you can
away.
separate
I
them
don't know,
between
like
the whole
$100
family.
worth of Magic Mind.
Yeah. Anyway, I took the second one.
Then you just do the thing where you just drink them all. The
Yeah.
superpowers.
Turn into
for the flight. Yeah.
who's that guy from Dr. Manhattan?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm on day 2. I mean, I'm feeling good. I'm talking about 5% faster.
Mm-hmm.
My legs shaking
Yeah.
at 49.
No, it's supposed to mellow
Gigahertz.
you out. It's supposed to mellow you out, man.
Oh, I thought it's supposed to bring me to a new plane of existence.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, I couldn't care less about anything. My kid fell off the roof today. Didn't even check in with her.
I don't know how real that is or isn't.
It's not real.
I
But,
kind of believe it could happen.
No, but honestly, you told me, you're like, it tastes a little funky, but it's worth it. And I actually think it tastes kind of enjoyable.
Yeah,
I did
no, I
refrigerate
like it.
mine. Which
Yeah.
Like you noted, maybe made it taste a little better. But producer I work with a lot, Kelly, who I've stolen many tips from and given them away on the podcast, Kelly Christensen. He heard our last episode and he immediately texted me. He's like, hey, should I try this Magic Mind stuff?
Oh, did he use the promo code?
You know what? I didn't even ask him.
Oh, dude, Kelly.
I mean, I assume he did. I don't know.
Kelly, I hope you use the promo code shoot it. You go to magicmind.com/shoot it. That's how Magic Mind knows that we are sending creative people to get their minds boosted by Magic Mind.
Right. Because as a reminder, Magic Mind is not giving us money. They're just giving us Magic Mind.
They are giving us a little bit of money that I have spent on Magic Mind.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dude, you truly do not read these briefs.
Oh, I thought they'd just give us Magic Mind, which means the only reason we're doing the sponsorship is because we like Magic Mind. That's why I'm telling people that. But yeah, maybe literally less money than Magic Mind costs. What we're getting. So they got us hooked on Magic Mind.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
It's an interesting market. But so Magic Mind is it's a mental performance shot is the idea. So it's not supposed to be like, for athleticism or anything like that. It's supposed to reduce stress using like mushroom nootropics and adaptogens, plus 100% of your daily vitamin C and D per bottle.
Right. There's some vitamin B too. I was reading the ingredients of my wife, the ashwagandha, which is burned into my head by Jordan Brady, who's also sponsored by Magic Mind. Yeah, it's not like a 5-hour energy drink, right? It's not like insane caffeine, but it is more like a clarity thing. I don't know. I'm on day 2. So far, I feel good. I will next week. I'm recording this December 23rd, 2 days before what you guys call Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Oren.
What we
Merry
call
Christmas.
Chinese Food Day. Just kidding. No,
Do you
we
do
celebrate.
the Chinese food thing?
You know,
Did you grow up doing it or no?
I think maybe I did it a couple times. We always went to,
Chinese food in a movie.
I have
on
some
Christmas
non-Jewish
Day is
friends,
So awesome,
okay?
though. But do you know what I mean? Like I've always been a little. I went to a movie a couple times for Christmas, and I loved it.
Yeah. No, we'll see. We haven't seen Moana 2 yet. I think there's some other new kid movies out.
Good call. Yeah. Let's finish up our Magic Mind plug.
Oh,
We do have a Black Friday offer going. So this episode, you still have a tiny bit of time left. Basically, before the end of the year, you can get 50% off with their Black Friday offer, available only through the link magicmind.com/shootit. So
wait, did you already buy more Magic Mind?
I asked for it for Christmas. It's a very good deal right now. It's like 50% off if you just subscribe, and I think it's 20% off if you just do a one-time thing. So check it out, guys. I have enjoyed it for sure. So is Pete Holmes, and he's very funny. So there you go.
Yeah. I thought he was not funny at all until he started doing the Magic Mind.
Until Magic Mind? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what's the code?
Magicmind.com/shootit. Only the words shoot it.
Yeah.
Not the words just shoot it. Magicmind.com/shootit. Magicmind.com/shootit.
Hey, if you guys want, email us at justshootitpod@gmail.com, and I read those emails. So if you want to follow me on the daily, figure out how I'm feeling on Magic Mind, just because it's only day 2, then email me and I'll give you my honest opinion, and you can decide if you want to.
I powered through my 15 shots, and I wrote the Great American Screenplay. So there you go.
Before we hop into my 10 tips from Thailand, I'm wondering if there are any tips from whatever you've been working on lately.
Yeah, I do have an interesting update, actually. So regular listeners will remember I was kind of stressed about bringing in some pages to Sandbox, which is a workshop environment where directors kind of put up scenes that they're working through, basically. And yeah, I was feeling pretty nervous about it, mostly because I felt out of shape. Like, I felt really, really disciplined in my narrative work for a long time. And then life gets in the way, and commercials, which have their own set of rules and ideas and advantages, took over my life. And so I wasn't feeling confident the way I normally do about narrative work. Anyway, the pages ended up playing pretty well. I felt really, really good about them.
Oh, nice.
Which is nice. And I think there were a couple takeaways that I think listeners can carry forward with them. The main thing is that I cast 2 great actors.
And cast good actors. Hold on, let me write that down.
It's really, maybe it's trust in your actors.
Yeah.
Because like there is that magic of like seeing them bring those things to life. And if you've done the homework of understanding what the characters' motivations are and what they're aiming for, what an actor needs to do a good job, and you give it to them, it's always exhilarating to see them bring it to life in a meaningful way, right? So like,
random acting question. Do you ever give your actors like an archetype? Like, are you ever like, you're like a Seth Rogen, or you're like this character from this, you're like Khaleesi from Game of Thrones?
No, but this piece, it's only 4 pages, and it was like about basically a dad who is like hosting a kid's birthday party, and a magician who was there, like basically who's wrapping up. And they kind of have this back and forth power dynamic of like, the dad feels like a square at first, and like the magician has all the upper hand, and the dad propositions the magician to like laugh at his jokes. Basically, is like, hey, I'm going to pay you $100. I want to feel funny. I want to feel like a performer and entertainer. And so there's this weird kind of like illicit sort of like back alley sort of conversation they're having about the idea of art and artfulness and the gratification that one receives from artistic work.
Cool. So you're melding your creative side with your being a dad side.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like obviously I've been spending a lot of time at birthday parties lately, so that's helpful. And I've always think
it's a little weird since you don't have a kid of your own.
Yeah, I'm there. Look, I had to sign some paperwork. I kept talking to the cops. They know me now. It's great. Anyway,
learned a few tricks. Yeah,
but no. So anyway, the point is that the power structure was really clear. So the archetypes were clear enough. I never had to say like, hey, you play Seth Rogen, you play this. But the 2 actors that I have, kind of naturally have a dichotomy between them. It's Dave Child, who I've worked with many times before. He was in the movie, and then See You Next Christmas, which is doing great. It's a great, perfect Christmas movie. It's on Peacock and a lot of other streaming services. But he was also in Townies, a web series I did. And then Matthew Hannon, who was in Squaresville, and I've known for many years. Anyway, they're both great actors. So that was really great. But I think the other thing that was helpful is that the environment that I was workshopping in is like essentially it's like a theater. It's like we're in like a small 99-seat theater. And so I have taken material to that workshop that's like special effects driven or really camera oriented or whatever, and it never really plays, right? Like it does fine and people are excited about it or whatever. It's all directors who can use their imagination, but it doesn't act.
And it's you like sitting on the side going, explosion, put your tongue down.
Or and you're making a joke, but a little bit. Like I'm not
like you're describing the scenes.
Yeah, sometimes I'll be like, okay, they're sucking their blood, or like people have to do that, right? Because it's all walks of director, and some people are doing like indie, romance thrillers or what, like it's every shape and form. So sometimes people do have to like explain slapstick or whatever.
Right.
This piece,
because are they standing or are they just sitting down while they're doing? Like, are they?
No, the actors are using the space. Yeah,
they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't get to place a camera, but you do get to practice blocking and all of that. But the big thing that was helpful that I think people can take away from is like writing to the medium that you're using, right? That you're aiming for, right? Like the idealized medium. Is it a short film? Is it a feature or whatever? Literally writing to that and the things that you can bring to that form. And so I think the main reason that this played so well is that the entirety of the piece, this 4 pages, you get the beginning, middle, and end in essentially a piece of theater. And so every director there understands everything they need. When you're bringing in a feature or whatever, it's like you have to like set up the context of like, okay, well, we're on page about 35 and this has happened and that has happened and the previous scene this happens and the next scene that happens. And so, people are good about understanding things, but no one's read the entire script on a feature, right? You're just bringing in 10 or so pages or whatever. With 4 pages, I could run it multiple times. People had a complete understanding of it. And so I think it did make a distinct advantage in terms of people understanding and being able to effectively give notes. And so I think it was just a like nice reminder that like, writing to an audience can be really gratifying and helpful. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like you're writing to a medium, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry. You said writing to an audience.
Well, or I'm agreeing with you. Like, yes, that's exactly right. Like, and that in this case, this workshop really lent itself to short form, basically. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. My friend Julie that I work with, sometimes we did that staged reading. And I noticed that like a lot of people write for theater there and they put up scenes. And those scenes tend to
play better.
Really, play the best.
Yeah, because
they're built for the stage. Yeah,
it's right there. It's built for the stage. Yeah. So I'm shooting it on the 30th.
Oh, you're shooting it?
I'm shooting
the 30th of December.
That is correct. Yeah.
Wow, you're looking for some write-offs.
It's kind of the opposite. I'm not really spending any money on it.
Oh, cool. Are you shooting on a Blackmagic 6K Pro?
I am shooting on the Blackmagic 6K Pro, courtesy of Blackmagic. Shout out to Terry. I am shooting on that.
Cool.
Yeah, got a little bit of gear from fellow listener and friend Clinton Cornwell. Lent me some sound gear.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need some lights. I know you have some lights.
I think I might need an H6N, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We own one.
I know. I mean, swing by and grab it.
Okay, cool.
But it's kind of an experiment in like just shooting it effectively. Like, oh, great. We did this. It was fun. The actors are here. And one of the actors is like leaving town for Chicago for 6 weeks. So it was like,
wait, so do you have to set up like a fake kid's birthday party?
The ends of it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like going on Amazon and buying balloons and stuff.
Oh,
Party City is going out of business too. So there's opportunity there.
It's the saddest party they're having.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, congrats. That's awesome. You're shooting a short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom Morris also just shot a short. And I was like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, why are you shooting
so much?
He shot 25 things this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's insane. That's too many. I guess just to set the table a little bit, I went to Thailand for 21 days. It was a very long time. Like I originally thought I'd only be gone for a week, and then they just kept moving the schedule around. Somehow it turned into 21 days, which kind of sucks because
during Thanksgiving. Like
I missed Thanksgiving. Yeah.
I told you to take the job and I felt a little bad about that advice actually.
Yeah. It's a 15-hour time difference. So like literally just the morning and the nighttime, I could barely talk to America. And then even like pitching on jobs for January and stuff, I had to like take a meeting at like 2 a.m. to get briefed. I pitched on 2 things from Thailand, and it was like middle of the night, and it was really tough. And I also did night shoots in Thailand. So I was already upside down. I went
Sounds like you needed your
daytime to
magic
nighttime.
mind.
But it's for a very famous chips brand that you've 100% heard of with an iconic shape. It's not Doritos. And I was making 4 commercials. I've never in my entire life worked on such an international project. We were making.
I doubt you ever will again. Like it doesn't get unless you do a Game of Thrones episode. Do you know what I mean? It's really or like a Mission Impossible. Like it's insane.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I'm American. The company that owns this brand is American. And that's where American involvement begins and ends. We're making four commercials, one for the Saudi UAE market, one for the Australian market, one for the Korean market, and one for the Thai/Indonesian market. And those 4 markets cannot be more different to each other. And I had to learn so much because Saudi is like a very conservative market, and so is Indonesia, but Thailand is like super wacky, and Korean is like super poppy and stylish, and they're really into like perfect skin and things like that, and Australia is kind of like tough. And we featured this sport that pretty much only exists in Australia, and I never even like heard of, and I had to learn all the ins and outs of it. And we cast people in Australia to fly to Thailand. By the way, the production company is Vietnamese. The clients were based in Singapore, but from South Africa. And then we had one actor from Brazil, but she was playing an Australian. And then my storyboard artist is also South American. So that's like how we touched South America. But Middle East, we touched Africa. We had an actress from Morocco, which is North Africa, and we had our South Africans. And we had some athletes from like Central Africa. We had my DP, he shot my first movie. And he also shoots Ted Lasso, and we had like this big soccer element to this thing. So I convinced them to hire him, David Rom, and he came out from London. And my EP is Australian, but lives in Vietnam, and we're shooting in Thailand. And it's just like the Tower of Babel. And what's crazy is the production company, they have 2 big offices, one in Vietnam, one in Bangkok, like at Saigon and Bangkok, and they speak Vietnamese and Thai. And in Thai has its own alphabet. Vietnamese is like an English-looking alphabet, but it has like all these marks on it. Like there's a guy that I was working with. His name I was like, "What's your name again?" And he's like, and he wrote it down for me. It's D-U-N dung, right? There's like a squiggly line on the D. I was like, dung, and everyone laughs at me like, no, it's like yong. I was like, wait, what? It's not dung. It's like, no, like basically he's like, you can call me by my nickname. And I was like, what's your nickname? He's like, Tit. And I was like, so you just want me to yell Tit on this sound stage? Like it was just crazy. And the casting was really tough. And it's one of my lists. But so that's the job. We had, the reason it was 21 days is we had to do 2 days because one of the spots is due by Christmas. That spot's almost done. And then we had
a lot of VFX as well, right? Like pretty serious post stuff.
Yeah, like for all the sports stuff, we're building the stadiums and post.
Yeah, because I was going to say not VFX, special effects and like wire scrubbing, but that's not true. You're doing a lot of like set extension and stuff as well.
CG, we're building a whole soccer stadium.
It's both. It's like
half a baseball stadium.
Yeah.
And then we had like some wire work that we did, and everything, like as I mentioned it on its own, is really cool. But like these spots are cut so fast, I don't know that you quite get the breadth of like insanity that was going on there. But it's Thailand too. Like I asked for like a tiny kitchen, and they built me like a 2,000 square foot restaurant kitchen. I mean, it's just so crazy. I'm like, that half of this isn't going to be on camera, and they're like, yeah, just in case. So the production design art stuff just goes so far in terms of building sets. We built 4 living rooms, like it was no big deal. And like huge living rooms. I'm like, can we have a dining room in the back? Can we have windows?
That's because labor is inexpensive relative to the American dollar.
Yeah, labor and materials in Thailand are super inexpensive. I mean, labor, there's like 200 people on set every day.
Yeah. You had an Instagram post from Wardrobe that I was like, oh
yeah, from the finning, where there's like 40 people at the finning.
I was like, man, these people are working hard.
I don't know what everyone's doing, but also there is like, and this is going to be one of my bullet points, but there's a little bit less respect for people's time, I found, in Southeast Asia. I mean, I think you and I were married to actors. We're like so worried about like, oh, I don't think we need this actor anymore. Let's let them go home 4 hours early. And, sometimes producers will tell us, let's just keep them around just in case.
I think that is, I'm not like that actually with actors specifically. I'm like, no, if we paid for them, we keep them. Unless I'm 100% sure. But I guess I will know. I'll be like, shoot, I need their shoulder or something.
Right. No, it's smart to keep them around. But we had extras for a fitting that were sitting for like 3 hours before they even like got seen, you know? And I'm like, and no one's like in a hurry. And I'm like, hey, what should we look at those guys? Should we do parallel paths? Should we have some people change while other people are changing? And they're like, no, we're going to finish them first. And I was like, yeah, but they're just sitting there. Like, they're like, yeah, it's okay. We're paying them to be here at the fitting. So, you know, it just, and I saw it with my own time too. Like, just the respect for time was not there. So
I'm curious about how film unions work there, and if there are any. Because the thing that I have observed when I was in Moscow, where they're, dare I say, anti-union because of socialism, communism,
right,
connotations, you know?
So it seems kind of, but it seems unions seem kind of like proletariat for the people. Everyone's equal.
Sure. But because of their history with communism, everyone's like, no, fuck that. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it went so far south, that pro-proletariat mentality.
But aren't they like still, I mean, Vietnam is still a communist.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, sure. Yeah. So
like, I don't think it's like so anti-communism, but
sure, maybe. Anyway,
someone smarter.
But I think unions
probably knows.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. But I think that places where their unions, I think, do a good job of instilling the need to respect people's time because their time is expensive. Right.
Yeah. And my DP actually negotiated how many hours he can work a day. And so did, of all the actors I told you we cast from all over the world, we had our Saudi commercial had a Moroccan actress, Syrian actor, an Egyptian actor, and an Emirati actor. And so we cast actors from everywhere. Only the Australians had like a limit of how many hours we could use them.
Yeah.
It was them two, and my DP, who has a good agent, was like, hey, 12-hour days. And if it goes over, that's fine. But you have to pay overtime.
Yep. That's so smart. That's so smart.
Yeah. I had nothing. So I had no limit on my time. And my DP was like asking me, he's like, hey, are you charging from like when we leave the hotel or when we get to set? And I was like, dude, they just own me. Yeah. They can ask me to work 26 hours a day. And
I mean,
do it.
Yeah. Those 2 days that in Moscow, we shot 18, 20 hours. It was like insane. And I remember asking my driver, I think I've told this on the podcast before, but I was like, what's the longest shoot day you ever had? And he was like, 36.
You're like, that's that's not a day, just say.
Yeah. But I think the difference is that like there was a lot of overlap in the crew. So there was just dudes sleeping like in the truck. it wasn't me, you know?
Yeah. I mean, in Thailand, the standard day is 12 hours and, is 14 hours. But I made sure
that's gnarly. 14 hours is gnarly.
Yeah. For me, we didn't go over 12 hours. We had to I kind of messed with the schedule a bit to make the days a little bit easier, but it wasn't the shoot time for me. It was more like just what they kept asking me to do offset. Like, can you go look at this, go scout this thing, go do it. Just stuff coming out of nowhere. On my days off, they're asking me to do work.
Yeah, anyhow. Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. Hit us with those.
So my number one tip is kind of to take care of your body, and I'm trying to make tips that obviously were useful for me in Thailand, but hopefully they're universal, even for local shoot or like if you're shooting a feature in your hometown or whatever.
Yeah.
But take care of your body. Number one, I think super important. Number one thing I used, I've talked about it. We got it endorsed by Carlin. It was Time Shifter. It's a app. You get one free trip.
It worked for you? Yeah.
If you install it, you get one free trip. So you put in your flights, you're on your way there and your return flight, and it will tell you when to go to sleep, when to expose yourself to light, when to take melatonin, when to drink caffeine, when to put sunglasses on. And it worked perfectly on the way to Bangkok, it's a crazy trip. I left on November 23rd. I got to Korea on November 25th. I got to Bangkok on November 24th. I like went to the future and back on my way there.
Yeah.
And then the Time Shifter helped me on the way back to LA, because I was only in LA for one day before I flew back to Hawaii. It didn't know about my Hawaii trip. So it was still kind of trying to adjust me to LA while I was in Hawaii. You should have
adjusted it to Hawaii, right?
Yeah, I could have. But then I also had to wake up at 5 a.m. to get on a flight for Hawaii. But
also, you don't have the same sort of control over your schedule, right? You're just like shooting and traveling and stuff. So like,
and when you have kids and stuff, it's like, sure, I can try to sleep until 9, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, you're kidding me.
Or I can try to go to sleep at 10 p.m. But it's tricky.
I have a follow-up question, because I have found that drinking has definitely affected my sleep and alcohol in a huge way, to the point now where I'm like, I don't want to drink, kind of period. but you have client dinners and like, depending on the culture of the agency and the company, like some people are like, hey, we're here to party a little bit. Like,
in
let's have some
Thailand,
fun,
it's like it's like literally all the drugs and illicit red light district stuff is like just normal client agency fare. And I was like, I'm gonna go to the hotel now. It's pretty nuts there. But I very much limited my alcohol intake on my adjustments, especially like as I was trying to adjust time wise. And I think the app kind of tells you, advises that as well. But the other thing I did, so I'm famous only in my own family for like getting super sick whenever I travel. Like, I'm just constantly barfing. And I had an IV on set when I shot in Mexico City. Last time I went to Mexico for vacation, I threw up like the very next day. And when I was in Thailand and Cambodia for my honeymoon, I couldn't even get on an airplane. I had to rewrap my whole flight because I was so sick. So I'm famous for getting sick. But what I did this time is my wife gave me these probiotics. I took one like every morning. And I just really eased into the eating. I mean, I never used like water from the sink. I always used water bottles, whatever, to brush my teeth and stuff and to drink. But I think you're so tempted when you go to another country to just, free food. And, that's like my biggest weakness is like free food. I just can't say no. But I just like try to really ease into the Thai cuisine, like just started with like, rice and a little bit of fruit and things. And then by the middle, I was like full on eating like, whatever, human eyeballs and stuff.
Yeah.
But it really worked. I didn't get sick at all. It was crazy. And I think the probiotics really helped. So that's it. Take care, everybody. Number 1. Number 2, casting. It was really hard. And, as commercial directors, a lot of times we have to audition actors without even any dialogue, It's like, you have to walk in here, pick this thing up, drink it. Ooh, it tastes delicious, and walk away. And I realized from doing all this international casting is that our job as a director, like one of our most important jobs by far on set, is to communicate with the actor. And so literally just do callback. I know sometimes you feel like you don't need callbacks. Just do really quick callbacks. Just like, hey, literally this is
2
what
or 3 people?
I would say to people.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how's it going? Any questions about the thing? This is really fun. Have you been to Thailand before? Cool. How long have you been acting? And that question literally disqualified half the people. Like one guy told me this was his first audition ever. I was like, awesome. Congratulations. That's so awesome.
Hey, getting a callback's a pretty big deal. It's great you made it this far. See you when I see you.
I do not want actors on set that don't know what a mark is, don't know how to. But there were so many actors that said they spoke English, and when we get on the callback, they did not speak English. And
or maybe, they did, but not to a level that you were anticipating, right?
Yeah. And so I think I had some issues with, I told you there were kind of a few different spots we're shooting. The first one, they kind of like recast it from underneath me, and they cast it with an actor that didn't speak English. And it was a little bit of a disaster on set. He only spoke Arabic. And they said, good news, Oren. I was like really worried about it because at the fitting, I saw like, I was already like asking him questions, and he just like, was like, yes to every question. I'm like, do you know where the restroom is? Yes. And so I was like, I'm going to need some sort of interpreter. And they brought an interpreter that's never been on a film set before. She was literally just taking photos of the set, not anywhere near me. And then, she was a local in Thailand. When she came, I'd be like, hey, I want him, like when he gets here, he should just look super confused. It's like these people that are in these situations that they're not comfortable in for the commercial. It's like just kind of confused and like looking around, like maybe he can kind of like open up his eyes and like look to the right, see that guy, look to the left, freak out from this thing. And she was like, confused. What is confused? So they brought me an interpreter that speaks Arabic and Thai, but barely spoke English. So it was so I learned it just through using interpreters. I also had to use an interpreter for Korean and an interpreter for Thai. It really trains your brain as a director to simplike your direction.
Sure. Or did you, these pieces are like very action oriented, right? Like, and like a little anime influenced, I would say. And so, you're not looking for especially grounded or nuanced performances. Is that accurate? Right? Like, could you effectively give them like the physical versions of line readings, where you like, do as I do. Like,
I tried.
Guys react here, any of that stuff.
I did try that. I'm kind of surprised it didn't work that well. Like they were kind of
makes
trying to
sense, but
Yeah. And it's, a good actor can make a big reaction seem grounded,
Sure.
You see like Tracy Morgan on like 30 Rock, like, whoa, or like like
maybe a different poll.
Jack McBray or
Sure. Yeah.
like, I mean, they have these crazy reactions, but to me, grounded just means that I believe that the character believes is genuinely experiencing that they're not acting, Right. And so, I mean, the whole cast of 30 Rock is like, kind of has, so to me, like a good actor can make a big reaction seem grounded, So anyhow, that one last thing I want to say about casting, a tip that I have to keep reminding myself over and over, and especially important on this one, which on the first spot, I lost this battle. And then I reminded myself on spots 2, 3, and 4 that I have to win it, which is, and you and I are probably pretty good at this because again, we're married to actors and we've been on both sides of the camera many times, just putting our wives on tape is like, as directors, there are a few things that we can say we're total experts on, right? Like I'm not a total expert on baseball. Sure. You're not a total expert on cat food or whatever, but we are, relative to everyone else in the group,
100%
experts on actors.
We've interacted. We know more about actors than they do. Full stop.
Yeah. Or at the very least, we've interacted with more actors than they have, and we've right.
I mean,
thousands of actors, thousands of times we've interacted with actors.
Yeah.
And so when someone is like, I like this look better, and then I used to be like, yeah, but this guy's a little funnier and this guy has this better experience. And this guy just kind of didn't really understand when I asked him to like do it his way. He just did the exact same thing, and that stuff doesn't work for clients. And my new method is to say like, listen, there's one thing that like I feel incredibly confident about myself, and is that I know which actor I'm going to be able to communicate with more effectively on set. Sometimes it's like, they're both good actors and this one's, sometimes I could be wrong about that, but I'm usually right about an actor that is going to be really difficult on set. And I think as directors, we just have to tell the people that hire us, like, hey, if you're going to trust me on one thing, it's this. Like, I need an actor that I can count on. We can make their hair shorter. We can make them look a little younger, a little older, or whatever. But if they're this whole spot, all your money you're spending is riding on this person's performance. And so trust me that I need to be able to direct that performance. And this actor who has a perfect look that you really like, that checks off these boxes, they're not going to give us the heart of this spot. Yeah. So,
well, I like that very much. And I think that also removes opinions from it a little bit, right? It's not, I like this person better than that person. You're citing like, communication is a tangible thing that people understand and is different than even the take that they brought in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can think of circumstances where where it's gone wrong, where it's gone poorly, where I kind of liked their take in the audition. I was like, oh yeah, you're pretty good. This is great. And then realized that they were not directable. And then as soon as there's any other opinion, everything goes south. As soon as we want anything outside of what they brought in, and then it's a spiral and everyone's having a bad time.
Yeah. And that's why in the audition, you just got to direct it. Even if they nailed it the first time, direct them to just do something different and just see if they understand you, first of all, and can do it second of all. And I think when you're talking to a client or agency or whatever and say like, hey, when we're on set and you're like, that expression, it feels kind of fake. Like, can we do something funnier or more natural? Like, I need to be able to take that information, the stuff, your notes, and give it to the actor and give you actually a different result than what we just saw.
Agency, your notes don't get responded to if you pick this person.
Yeah.
Is really the subtext of what you're saying. It makes me think of...
and also investor and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, all your bosses, effectively.
Yeah.
In class, I teach a commercial acting class. I've started having them not just run some auditions, which I've been doing for a couple of years now, but now I also will have them pick actors, decide who they're casting.
Cast. Yeah.
And this last group was, I'll just say my favorite group. They were really wonderful kids, just smart, sweet, engaged, and really into it. It was also a big class, which was really nice. Anyway, they for their final, we had them cast 2 actors basically in a 2-hander, and they were pretty despondent. They were pretty bummed. And I think that it was really interesting to see them try and direct their fellow actor and see their fellow actors not taking those notes and all of that stuff. And I think it will be really meaningful for them, way more than just running scenes over and over again. It's pretty wild. It's a pretty interesting experience. Anyway,
that's some
tangents aside. Hit us, Oren. What's the next one?
Okay, number 3, wardrobe styling. I cannot say this enough now that I've worked in kind of 4 different countries this year. styles are just different in every country.
You mean fashion, like the way people present, basically?
Yeah. I'm casting now for Bogota, Colombia. We have a scene. This happened to me in Mexico too. Every single woman, these are women 35 to 45, is wearing a crop top. Like,
Oren, you haven't gone shopping recently. Crop tops are in.
I know, but would you wear them to an office?
I was at a Nordstrom rack yesterday, and I was like, everything. I'm trying to shop for my wife. Everything's a crop top.
Okay, I know that. I know that, like especially
casual,
young people.
I mean, like
no.
Yeah, that's
what you want to tell me when you go to a board meeting, like an executive suite
No, but I'm
meeting,
saying like it is the fashion right now. Like specifically that thing is kind of a weird frustration for sure.
I just find it hard to believe that you go to like Facebook corporate and like every woman's midriff is showing.
Sure.
In the,
so you see belly buttons everywhere. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong. I haven't worked in an office for a while, but like we have our perception. Also, like from a brand friendliness point of view, like brands are just conservative, you know,
they
like
just don't want belly buttons in their spots.
Yeah, they don't want tattoos. They want belly buttons. They want crazy piercings. I mean, unless you're like
unless they're a youth brand,
a Nike commercial, or like a Instagram. But if you're doing like a freaking commercial for like Tide laundry detergent, anyhow, it just kind of like so. What in Thailand, I had a really hard time with the wardrobe. I just didn't get any outfit that they brought to show me. I was like, this is just. Everything was plain. It's like a fully purple t-shirt. I'm like, okay, can we add a layer to it? They'll bring me a fully purple sweatshirt to put on top of it. I'm like, no, like literally no waffle comb texture, nothing like collar. I kid you not, in one of the spots, one of the actors is wearing my shirt because the agency is like, this doesn't look good. And I was like, show us all the options. And we're like, that none of these work. And I was like, can you put my shirt on and let's see? And I had like a button down blue poplin shirt.
So funny.
And then, so this is my tip. And this is what I learned. I didn't do it, but what I'll do next time is they have malls there, and probably everywhere you go. Just go to the mall, find the stores. They had like an H&M, a Zara, a Uniqlo.
I will often tell people what store the characters shop at.
Right. But like so one step beyond that, go to that store's website, make a freaking Google slide deck, and just pull outfits you like and just put them on there. Just give them something to start with.
My mind is blown, Oren, because
that I've never done this before.
Yeah. You do so much thorough prep.
I know. I usually work in America. I work with really good stylists.
And who are sending you that stuff?
They do that. Yeah. And then I'll give notes. Let's do more of this, more of that. But there it's like, I'll send notes. They'll make a deck. I'll send notes. And then they just bring me the most ridiculous stuff I've ever seen. It's happened to me in Mexico. It's happened.
Yeah. I love to just crack open, make it a deck, right? Make it a Google deck, have a Zoom meeting with them real quick, share screens, say it like, oh, I like this one, I'll throw this one in the deck, like just to get a little bit more hands-on. That's crazy we haven't talked about that because you are so hands-on with literally every other aspect. It's funny that...
Yeah, and I usually have a page on wardrobe.
And you're opinionated, of course,
And I'm so opinionated on the color. Like, my freaking Popeye spot with Jimmy O Yang, where Jimmy and the client and the agency all decided on him wearing some white shirt as he's standing in front of a bright blown out window in a white restaurant. And I was like, guys, this is the worst decision ever. And they're like, Jimmy, you like it? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine with it. Agency, client. Yeah. And I felt like...
You know what I would do in that circumstance is I'll show them why it's bad. I'll be like, look, I hear you guys, but let me just show you what it'll look like in the frame. And then I just take it on the hanger and I put it there. And I'll be like,
I did do that.
Really?
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, it's okay. They already approved it. Like,
it's okay. They already approved it. That's the kiss. That is the shortcut to mediocrity.
The problem with that one specifically too is the backup. Yeah. The other options weren't great,
Yeah.
They had like a reason why, like Jimmy didn't like one thing, client didn't like the other thing. And so it was like, Warren, just stop fighting us on this.
Yeah.
But if I would have done this deck and come for it, and here's the things, and literally I could write no white shirt, no black shirt.
Yeah.
Anyway. I will say the one other crazy thing about Thailand is, they're like famous for their knockoffs of like famous brands and stuff, that whole part of the world. And so there were a few things. We needed like a rugby helmet and I wanted it to be red. And they were like, oh, we can't find any in any stores. And then the next day they're like, here, we got one. I was like, where'd you get it from? They're like, oh, we made it. We looked at it online and just copied it. We also made like 20 baseball uniforms and these very sports soccer uniforms. We made all these custom uniforms. I had to come up with the name of the teams. I had to come up with the numbers and the names. They're like, Oren, they just asked me for every detail. Like, Oren, what number should this guy wear? I had to design like the logos, like the league logos, the team logos, like everything.
You
Sponsors.
had to design them?
Yeah, because they're like, what should we put in here? And I'd asked some other people. I was like, can you just like help? And they didn't. They just wanted to put the logo of the brand on every single thing. I was like, okay, let me do it. I just did some, combination of modifying Midjourney AI, and also the other AI in Adobe Illustrator. Tip number 4. This is something that
Did you get to 4 just because you wanted to prove me wrong?
My first AD had a PA system. He had like a giant microphone or a giant speaker that we would carry around with a microphone.
No, tiny speaker, a giant microphone.
Yeah.
Didn't work as well as thought.
So we had 2 mics. I had one and he had one. And we're shooting on a baseball field, a soccer field. But even on the soundstage, he would have it. And he would just, because there's like I said, like 100 to 200 people on set, everyone can hear us. And we would just talk to these mics and you don't have to yell.
Yeah.
It was quite awesome. I've kind of maybe had that before.
They do it on features for sure. Yeah.
But it just worked really well, especially when you're far away and you'd be like, and action. Cool. Number 7. Can you move to your left a little?
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah, especially for actors. Because I go back and forth depending on the type of shoot. I'll be on walkie, and like wear surveillance and stuff. Like I can talk to camera team. Like I like to like jump back and forth and like can also kind of hear things, be aware of what's going on. The ADs are, if you can hear a nervous tone in someone's voice, I know, but I like that though, especially actors, because I will run back and forth all the time. Yeah.
No, this is nice, especially for kind of big,
it's a little more
boisterous
dignified.
scenes.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm like, okay,
sure.
He betrayed you, and now let's see those tears, baby. It's not those types of performances.
It's okay to be a little impersonal. It's like
and it's a lot of blocking. Like, okay, great, let's just try it a little bit faster. Pick up the the product a little sooner. Ready, and let's go. Ooh, hold a little higher, and because sometimes I'm like 100 feet away from that.
Yeah.
Based on how
it's just like mumbling to yourself.
Yeah.
God.
Okay, number 5
worked, but
I touched on this again, but I just wanted on my list is like protect your time. Put it in your contract before you take a job. You need a day off at least once a week, because if you're working with other people that are like on a flat rate that are profiting off of your work, they will just it's even they're like, oh yeah, no, it's Saturday, it's Enlo's day off. But Matt, just so you know, here's like the sound design that we have, and here's some options for locations. Don't worry about them, but we can pick them ourselves. But just sending them to you, it's like things like that where you're like, of course I'm gonna do it.
I have to just do it. Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think that's on a case-by-case basis, because the flip side, as we've talked about on the show, I like to be on a flat so that I get invited to the color session or whatever. Like I don't want people to make the decision to not include me or not loop me in on something because I'm not getting paid for that time. If I'm available, I want to do it. But you were in extenuating circumstances, and the scope of the job is such that it would just eat you alive. And it sounds like maybe a little bit.
The problem is when you're on a flat rate is nobody schedules around you anymore. They're scheduling around all the other people that are not on flat rates. Oh, we only have the editor on Tuesday, so you got to prep everything for them on Monday, even though Monday's your day off. Sorry, when you're on limited time, they're just all I want is for people to schedule around my time as well.
Yeah, because you could just have that conversation with an EP that has a relationship with you and stuff too. I think that's part of it.
I mean, I had to like at some point be like, hey, listen, on day 18 of me being in Thailand, I'm not going to any meetings. And they're like, great, no meetings. By the way, 11 a.m., can you just like zoom in to present this thing? And then I'm like, fine, I zoom in at 11 a.m. Oh, sorry, they moved the meeting to 3 p.m. It's like every single time it was something like that.
That sucks.
Number 6, cool gadgets are only as good as their operators. I think we all know this inherently, but we still make this mistake. We had a Bolt and a Phantom. 2 very cool gadgets.
Wait, I don't think I know what a Bolt is actually.
The robot, motion control robot, the Bolt arm. It can move super fast. We want to do this shot that's like out of the Matrix, where Neo falls back and it's like what's it called?
Bullet time.
Bullet time. Yeah, the bullet time effect. But instead of having like 100, still cameras like just slightly off sync from each other by a frame, I thought like we'll shoot on a Phantom, we'll shoot at like whatever 1,000 frames per second, and we'll just move the camera in a circle real fast, and then we'll get kind of that slow motion thing. And it took so freaking long to program the Bolt. Once it's programmed,
once
it's programmed, if you like, we programmed everything with our stunt double. Our actor was like 2 inches shorter. All the shots looked off. We're shooting on anamorphics, which was the other fun gadget, like these great, awesome anamorphic lenses. But like, I'm like, we can't move back enough. Like now I feel like we're too close to the actor and we don't have like, we're cutting off his feet a little bit, you know? And to move the camera, it's just, it's forever. And the actor is hanging from wires. So to move the actor is like a whole big deal. We can't like move. The wires are connected like 30 feet high. And the Phantom is just like, it's not an Alexa 35. It's got way less dynamic range. When you're shooting at 1,000 frames per second on a stage, you need a light super, super, super bright.
Super, 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 super bright. Like
focus gets critical.
Not
like
to keep talking about Russia, but we shot Phantom on that as well. And it was January. Like snow is falling. People are constantly like there's a whole workforce of people just constantly shoveling snow nonstop.
Yeah.
And we were in a warehouse. It wasn't a sound, it was just like a giant warehouse. And I took my shoes off. I was like, I am too hot in this place. And it was because those lights were just so hot in a freezing, uninsulated warehouse.
Oh, because you needed so much light.
Because we needed so much light. Yeah.
Yeah. So those things, they're so cool. Bolt, camera, robot, Phantom.
Cool. Yeah.
They just eat so much time. We had kind of a Phantom tech, a guy that shot with Phantom before, but wasn't like a full-time Phantom tech. We had a Bolt guy that like literally we were down for an hour for power issues. And we didn't even know what the issue was. Like 5 minutes in, we're like, are we ready? He's like, nope, hold on. Literally, we held on for 55 minutes. Like I would have killed for him to say like, hey, I don't know what's going on. I need like 30 minutes to figure this out. Go do something else. But he just, the entire 200 people just waiting for this guy to figure out the power issue.
You're just stonewalled. Yeah, that is my biggest pet peeve with a crew member. It's like totally okay to be like, hey, we're working on it. Like,
and we've all been there.
Thing. We've all been there where it's like, I'm just going to need some time to figure this out. This is a high-tech piece of machinery, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, give me an hour.
Yeah. And I told you about the time I got hired to do some drone shots and I didn't realize we were right next door to an airport and my drone wouldn't take off. And everyone's waiting for me. We had these like golf pros like, okay, Oren, it's your turn. And I was like, guys, let's look at the schedule, talk to the first AD. I'm having some technical issues. How can we rearrange this? Because I am not ready to shoot.
I'm not ready to shoot. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
It sucks. It's embarrassing.
It's humiliating. You're not going to get another phone call. But that is still better for the production than you just kind of like sweat. And also you can't perform, right?
Yeah.
Talk about performance anxiety. You're like, you're frantically Googling.
With 1,000 eyes looking at you.
Yeah. I will say in defense of your text, that is a huge mistake. And I think is an experience and professionalism thing. I've dealt with some people on a job recently where it was like, just tell us you don't know. Just, but I wonder, no disrespect, I wonder if you won't make the mistake of the Bolt, of rehearsing with a different actor with the Bolt again.
Right. Which, by the way, we had the Bolt.
Do you know what I mean?
On the pre-light day, we set up and programmed the entire move. With our stunt coordinator. So that first thing up, we'd be ready to go. We had the Phantom. We had everything. It was like, it could not have been a better plan for saving time on the Bolt and the Phantom. And it still killed us. So
yeah. But if you had used if you were like, hey guys, I've done this before. If there's any variation, we're back to square one. So we need the actor that day. You keep telling me how cheap everybody is. Let's bring them in. If they'd done that, you would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that actor was still like getting a visa to get into Thailand or whatever. But yeah,
sure.
Also freaking anamorphics. I love them, but like there are so many limitations that like no one ever talks to you about when you're doing like highly specific, precise commercial work. They're just can be a pain, They're really they're epic, they're beautiful, they're great, but like if you
do yourself a favor and go back and rewatch the first 10 minutes of Scream, like the Drew Barrymore stuff, because it's all anamorphic and they're flying around on a steady cam for super long takes. Where like Drew Barrymore's like running from Ghostface, all that stuff. It is impeccable.
Yeah.
Like it is, of course. But like watching it as a fan, you're like, oh yeah, this scene is so good. But like now with that technical layer, just being reminded of how annoying anamorphics and how finicky they can be and how on point it is, it's incredible.
Yeah. So also, good. They're really much easier to use on exteriors. That, from my personal experience,
in exterior side,
yeah,
sure. She's inside, bro. She's running around that kitchen island.
Yeah, that too. I mean, they're great. It's just when an agency's like, "Oh, how's the 9x16 going to be framed on this?" Like, there's literally nothing you can do. You're like, "We're 24 feet away from this actor. We have to move a wall in order to. We're on our widest lens. It's just yes, it's a 16 horizontally, but it's only a 32 vertically. You know?
Yeah. Is it right? God, that's an aspect ratio problem too, right?
Yeah.
So like
regardless of how you're cropping and what resolution you're shooting and all that stuff.
So I shot anamorphic for the Patrick Schwarzenegger thing I just did, but we composed at 16:9. And so I was like,
and you have a lot of medium shots in that one. You don't have like a ton of like super wide shots.
Yeah.
Right?
The space was also super small, like super, super small.
Yeah.
Like the true head to toe shot that you're thinking of, we're outside the bar. Like we had to open and shoot through it and like in an additional door actually.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Anyway.
Something spherical just it makes it a little easier. Okay, number 7. This is another thing I know we all know, but just a reminder, like have your phone loaded with like all the references you want to show anyone. It doesn't matter if you put them in the storyboards, put them in treatment, told them about it, had a Google Meet about it. Just have your phone ready with everything. Like if you use Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever, just save it to your phone, available offline. Don't rely on internet to download this 29 megabyte GIF that you want to show someone as a reference for a camera movement. Just have it all on your phone. And I used it so much. I had shots that I was like really liked as an inspiration for camera movement. I had performances. I had like kind of zoom, like how the camera should zoom. We were doing some like live sports looking type things, colors, framing. And in the beginning, the first few shoots, I was just having trouble with like my internet in Thailand at these different places. And I was trying to show people references and they just weren't working. So just a reminder.
Is there a McDonald's around I can go to real quick?
Yeah. Just a reminder, make everything available offline, save it to your phone and just have like a folder of favorites too.
Maps too, for sure.
Oh yeah. For maps too. But when you're on set and you're like the camera move, like, you know, you start here and for your DP too, you'll be like, I told you this 100 times. They're like, you described 89 shots to me. Like, I don't remember what shot 17 is.
Do you think that it would have been helpful to print those materials? Like if you had just a little...
No, because we have boards and every day you get to set, someone will give you like a printout of, you know, like all these papers and you try to put them in your pocket and then you take them out and you put them down somewhere and you lose them. And your phone, you just like always have.
A folder, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you can hand them to your first AD maybe and be like, can you show me this?
Yeah.
But I have a lot of, you know, I love GIFs for like my treatments and stuff. So I had so many shots that were like, it's something like this. It's like we rack from this baseball to over the pitcher to the guy, or it's like a drone shot where we do this thing.
I guess I like paper partially because you can draw on it and point at it. And it's just a little larger format. You know what I mean? So that's kind of nice. It feels a little bit more collaborative. Like I'm almost like dreaming of you having an iPad or something.
Yeah, but I'm just
like you're going to lose your pencil or whatever. Yeah.
But you know, I'm like always running around.
Yeah, I must have endorsed this probably a decade ago. But when I talk about printing out things and having a folder, I make it red. I buy a red folder so that people can see it, and I can be like, "Where's my red folder?" My dear friend and sound guy he'd be like, "Where's my folder?" Was his impression of me.
Yeah. Also, if somebody shoots your hand while you're holding it, no one will notice.
That's right.
Okay.
Maybe I should get a brown folder instead.
Number 8. You might disagree with me on this one.
I can't wait.
But I this is a lesson.
Most of the time you say that, I agree with you, actually.
Well, this is a lesson I've learned multiple times, and I'm not good at actually doing it.
Oh, I agree. You're right. Yeah.
Record audio even if there's no dialogue. Even if the producer is like, we don't need
Wait, you
sound,
think I would disagree with that?
You know, sometimes you're shooting it like you don't want to wait for planes. You know that it's like a music video. Do you roll audio?
I don't like music videos, and yes, I do. I want editors to hear my notes. I want to say things out loud. I want anything that like have something to sync to if you need like an impact or whatever. All of that stuff. There's no reason not to. Like always do it.
One reason, like on this shoot, we were going so fast, we didn't even slate. You know, we just slate.
Even better reason to roll sound. Yeah.
Well, but you know, I'm saying like roll good sound. You know, like have like a sound person.
Yeah, I still do it. Yeah,
but I mean, I guess you can like do a time code jam sync and hope it says. But
and I like to have a scratch mic on the camera for that reason. Yeah,
that I should have at least fought for that. But now, literally, like all the commercials, especially in the rough cuts, is just my voice doing all the characters because it's just all these crazy things happening to the characters. So I'm just like, ooh,
Oh, you're just doing efforts?
Yeah.
You sound pretty good though.
But I'm trying to sound like the Saudi
how they-
dad.
how they sound.
And I'm
Yeah.
like reading on chat,
Sure.
like I'm doing impressions of different cultures. I mean, I'm sure I'm offending everyone. Like the Korean side, like I'm like at GPT, like, how do you say ouch in Korean? And there'll be some letters. I don't know. I'm like, take those letters, put them in a Google Translate. Can you say this out loud? And I'm just like, ooh, ow, ouch. Like ouch, I guess is like how some Arabic countries say, and just like gulps and all these things. And I'm like, all the characters in these rough cuts sound like me, even the women.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you definitely.
And I'm like, why don't we just roll sound? Like, we'd have so much good texture to at least for the sound designers to work off of.
Yeah. Plus, to use some of it, accentuate all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Number 9, AI. Sorry, trying to make a list about AI stuff. In terms of like creating art with it, it's one thing, but using it as a tool to help, I used it a lot. We mentioned ChatGPT multiple times. I used it, like I said, to help design the uniforms, figure out, when you need to have 22 players and you need to find out what each player's name and number is, because somebody is asking you that, you can use like ChatGPT to help you with that stuff. Designing logos, designing fake things, even if they're just like inspirations. I used it for translating for all of my temp audio. I used 11 Labs to read the voiceover. I used Google Translate and like some AI ChatGPT stuff to figure out how to say certain things in different languages. And I used 11 Labs to say it out loud. And sometimes I just add a bunch of exclamation marks in 11 Labs to make it yell while you're. But anyway, I found that to be super useful. Especially for multilingual stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's helpful. I think my use cases for AI are kind of solidifying, and like, I think when it comes to art, that's an ethical quandary, right? To say the least. But when you're in a predicament where you're like, I just want the perfect stock image, but I want it to be generic. Like commercials you're oftentimes working in something that's just telegraphic. Like I just need for people to immediately understand they're playing baseball.
Right.
And I need the most generic and obvious baseball logo for these characters. That's what AI is good at. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
But it takes a long time and you have to edit it. I mean, I have to re-Photoshop like every single thing I generate.
Yeah, I don't think it makes us more effective and technically faster, but like it's certainly not a replacement for a person,
Yeah. I mean, not in the way we're using it. But number 10, last one. Then of course I have a bonus one. But number 10 is to remember as a director, you have 2 jobs. They're kind of the same thing. Number 1, be confident. Number 2, make decisions.
I was going to say be decisive. Yeah. Yeah.
Even if you're not confident and even if you don't know what the right decision is. And I've noticed that in Southeast Asia, they care about this way, way more.
The confidence, you mean?
The confidence and the decision-making in America, I think the culture, I'm sure it's like this in TV. And anytime you have someone paying you to direct, definitely in commercials, is that like, hey, let's have a conversation about this. Here's 2 ways we can go. I think I'm leaning towards this way. In Southeast Asia, it's like if you do that, they're like, well, tell us, what do you think is better? Why do you think it's better? Like I was showing some rough cuts and they're like, and I wanted to show a few different cuts to get their opinions. They're like, well, which one do you think is the best? I'm like, well, I think this one's good here. Like, just tell us. Like just tell us what you think is good. And when you don't, they kind of respond poorly to it. And so
blood in the water.
It just kind of reminds me like, it doesn't have to be the right decision. It just has to be a decision.
Yeah. And I think that one of the big themes out of this show is like figuring out your own rubric for what makes something good or bad is something that we've heard from other directors. And I think in our own work is a default over the years, right? So like the justification for like, what's the philosophy of this thing? And then, or what's the guiding principle? And then does this creative decision align with said principle or not? Right? Is so much easier for me at least than is this good or bad, right? It's not about taste qualitatively. It's about, does this heighten? Does this make things more dramatic? Does this make things clearer or less clear? Things like that. Whatever those important factors are relative to the process, that's what you're trying to do, right? So like if someone says, do you like this or that? I can say, I like this because it's clearer. This I find confusing for these reasons. That's what I'm always looking for. And it's oftentimes not that easy. But if you know from the get-go what the priorities are, then you can align to said priorities.
Right. And by the way, if it's really hard for you to decide between two things, then they're probably like
Pretty good.
one isn't better than the other, and just decide
Then just
one.
pick.
Like literally, you can just toss a coin. Like,
And also, you're going to be wrong sometimes. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, it sort of matters, but also like you don't have any control over it either way. So just get it over with.
well, on that note, my bonus tip is to just try to enjoy yourself. Filmmaking is one of the most stressful things. Like I was running off of like 5 nights in a row with 3 hours of sleep and people being disappointed with my edit or unhappy with my casting or not understanding what I was trying to do, and I was just so stressed out.
Sure.
And
you're also in Thailand shooting a crazy commercial with all of the people helping you. And
and away from, but at one point I had to say like, hey, yes, selling chips is important, but like I need today off. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I want to come back tomorrow and be really strong and I want to enjoy this. And we do a really cool thing for a living, but we're not like saving lives. So whether it's like your short film or your feature film or whatever, yes, we're putting everything into them, but also it's only a film, it's not 100%. The end of the world.
I think there's also some serenity in like, you're going to make another one. Like it doesn't have to be the greatest commercial of all time, aim for that.
Well, I know you have to go. Next time I did meet with the fellow director, Freddie.
I want to talk about it. Yeah.
And I want to talk about that later because he gave me some really good tips. And I found that, Instagram, I know we promote it a lot, but if you're traveling somewhere and you want to meet other filmmakers that work there, just put it on Instagram and someone will probably see that and be like, oh, I'm in Thailand too.
I'm in Thailand. Love it, man.
We have some listener questions too that we will get to.
Yes.
Did we answer Kevin O'Brien's?
We did not. Because we talk too much.
And we got John Schwartz with a really good question also.
Yeah, there's a couple good ones. So I'm excited to get to those soon. It's going to be a good year for the show. I'm excited.
You got an endorsement real quick?
I do. Let's do it.
Unpaid endorsements.
You know me, I love to plan. And, 2025 is a big year where everyone's been saying survive till 25. Well, we did it. Knock on wood. I think so. But I got a lot of big stuff going. So I'm really, really excited for it. And I was just like stressed about like, how am I going to make all of these different things work? How am I going to fit all of this living into my life? And I also have like some big picture goals of like wanting to, go on some trips and like set some sort of, medium goals, some personal goals, Anyway, all the stuff I was trying to figure out. And I realized I just kind of wrote down all of my variables, all my circumstances longhand. And threw that into ChatGPT and said, hey, help me figure out how to hit all these marks.
Really?
Then it was great. And it physically made me feel better. I was like, oh, this is attainable. Okay, I do need to write 20 pages in this month or whatever, however it slices out.
So it gave you good advice?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, good. It's not advice. So that's the thing. I don't think that these large language models are good at advice per se, but these are problems that like just take a little bit of logic. So for example, I say like, okay, I want to write a feature, but I don't need it to be done by this time. It's going to be approximately 110 pages. I make this much money. I want to have this much saved. I want, all of those little things. Anyone with half a brain could sit down and figure it out longhand, right? I could just brain vomit. Here are all the things I want to do. Break this out for me, and very quickly it's into something digestible and clean and easy to parse, to say, okay, that's going to be a little fast, or, oh, you don't understand, I need more time to rewrite here, or whatever. It does all that legwork for you effectively, instantaneously. And so if you are looking to be ambitious with your 2025, if you're trying to figure out those big tasks, you have a lot of life events, you want to take a big trip or whatever, you're forecasting. How many jobs do I need to book in order to make enough money to do this? Okay, well, that's going to be X number of jobs per month. Can I pull that off or not? Like, does that seem realistic? All of that thinking, ChatGPT makes it really easy. Even if you're not into AI, that's totally valid and respectable. Do that work either way, right?
Yeah. So that's good. I think my 2025 goal will be to try to just waste less time, be more efficient. I wonder if that is something ChatGPT can help me with.
Yeah.
Or like step number 1 is to take the phone out of the bedroom, but I don't know if I'm ready for that.
I almost made this my endorsement, and I thought you would roast me for it. I like to wake up early, and lately I've just been leaving my phone in my room, and it makes things so much better. Also, this is a new one, so I don't know how it'll pan out, but my wife and I have a code word to say to each other to be like, get off your phone.
Oh, am I allowed to know the code word?
Yeah, it's one of the Marx Brothers, Groucho.
Oh,
We just say Groucho, and it's like because you don't want to be like, hey, honey, you're not being present in the moment right now, or can't that wait, or like you're on your phone. What are you looking at? And all the those little tiny conversations we have with each other back and forth.
But do you use it?
Yeah, but this is as of yesterday. But she said it to me today, and I was like, "You're right. Put it away."
And then you say it to her, and she's like, "I'm booking our reservation." Okay.
Well, yeah, and that's valid too. To be like, "Hey, can you look this up or whatever?" But if you're on Instagram, or she said it to me because I was like, "It's mostly Marx Brothers that I haven't seen on the AFI Top 100 Comedies list." As our kid is like playing Play-Doh or whatever, it's like, no, just play with your kid, stupid.
Right. Yeah, that is a funny scenario. I can't wait for it to be in your short film. So I'm just going to give a really dumb one.
It is.
Because it's actually mild endorsement. It's more of an idea for a gift for like a dad. Because I bought it, but I have not. I received it, but I didn't try it because I'm giving it as a gift.
Oh, to someone else? Oh, I thought
Yes.
you bought yourself a present. Okay.
No, I bought it for my stepdad.
Okay.
And it's I've seen it, the ad served on Instagram like 100 times. It's called the Air Moto tire inflator portable air compressor. Have you heard of these things?
It falls into that category of like preparedness that like certain dads love. I think that you and I are kind of in that category for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The rush of like, shoot, we have a flat. I'll save the day because I thought ahead to buy this on Amazon and I've patched my tire and we're on the road.
Well, it's really small. It's like you charge it via USB. It's got a lithium-ion battery or something. Just keep it in your car or wherever. You can pump, bikes, like balls, like pool equipment, or like you're at the beach and you want to inflate a raft or something. And you can do your tires. And what's cool is you set the pressure you want to get to, your PSI, and you just connect it. And did I ever tell you the story of when Kara and I, we had a flat on one of our SUV, and Kara and I we used a bike pump and we just took turns for like an hour. Like I went for 5 minutes, you went for 5 minutes. We just pumped it up just enough. It was like fully flat on the ground and just got enough air that we could drive it to the tire shop, which is like 5 blocks away.
Wait, you guys don't have AAA?
I mean, well, first of all, we don't have AAA, but also like, do you call a tow truck to your own house to tow your car like 5 blocks?
100%. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
That would have been really hard to get.
My AAA, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I got to the tire place, they're like, "What? How did you pump this up?" I was like, "My wife and I just use a bike pump." They're like, "You are insane."
Like, she's a Pilates instructor and a great actor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyhow, okay. Thanks for listening. This episode is edited by Kevin O'Yang. Our producer is Tyler Small. You're listening to music from the Free Music Archive and the artist Jazar. And we will catch you all next time. We have plenty more. I have so many more stories to tell you.
Can't wait.
You're in for a treat.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Goodbye.